Hello, welcome pen friends, welcome visitors. If you're new to my channel, my name is Chris and I've been a fountain pen YouTuber for about 2 years. I started this channel mostly for my love of fountain pen inks, but if you go back far enough, you'll see I'm also quite head over heels with fountain pens. The whole hobby, the whole community, everything about it has just been such a joy in my life. So this year I'm participating in the Pen Community Gift Guide. So that's what I'm here to talk to you about today is gift giving. And from my perspective, which will always be geared toward budget friendly, that's one thing. And also just what experience I have gained in which pens are reliable and maybe best to give to newcomers. And it's just my opinion, but I hope you'll enjoy it and I hope you'll get something out of the video. I'm also going to be talking about what I find the 5 most important things in a fountain pen. And there's some tips that I think might be helpful to you in terms of what to include when you do gift something to a brand new pen person or person who doesn't have a fountain pen yet. I think those things may be helpful. So what I'd like to do is shift gears here and move right on over to the pen desk and show you what I have for you. So I'll see you on the other side. There, I have returned to the side of the camera that I'd rather be on, which is behind it, okay? But these are the 2 pens that we're going to concentrate on today. I'm going to try to keep it simple. So the first one, the Pilot Varsity, is a little pen that, and we're just going to move this out because we don't need to even worry about that yet. This is a little pen that I really highly recommend for someone like a child or a first-time user of a fountain pen to where they can have a great experience right out of the box. These pens are fountain pens, but they're ready to write with. You just open it up, take the cap off, and it starts to write. You don't have to fill the pen with ink. You don't have to pop in a cartridge and wait. It's ready to go. So that's what makes it such a great pen for a beginner or a young person. And these pens, they come in all kinds of colors. They're under $5 and they're, gosh, there's a set that comes with all kinds of colors right in it. I was in a class once with a girl that really didn't even realize she was writing with a fountain pen. I said, "Oh, you have a fountain pen?" And she said, "Is it?" So, you know, they write really well. And this is a purple one I've had a long time. It's probably, you know, it's showing its age now, but it's just held up so well and it writes really well. So I just think that when it's your very first experience, I would have liked to have started with this rather than the pen that I did start with. So that's my recommendation. Now, I would not just give somebody this pen and say, "Have a good day, I hope you like it." The thing is that you need to find some paper that will go really well for them. And I've got a couple of really affordable options. One is the little Moraman spiral note, and it's available in those Daiso places for like $1.50. And then the other one is available in CVS pharmacies in the United States, and it's under $2 as well. And this is really friendly paper, especially for a medium tip pen like this is. This has a medium nib on it and it writes pretty well. In fact, it may bleed through or show through cheaper papers, but these are fountain pen friendly papers that I would recommend. And then this is another one. This is Tau Tree, and you can find these on Amazon for under $5. This would make a super nice little gift because they could use this pen with this notebook or either of these. So that's just something to keep in mind. I would always say never just hand over a pen without having the conversation at least about what fountain pen friendly paper is. And there are others too, but you want to give them something so that they have success immediately. So there's that level. Now, as we kind of go, I do want to be talking about what I consider the top 5 reliability and attributes to a fountain pen. And I think that's going to fit really well with the next level. If you've already gifted someone with this, or they have a start in fountain pens but they want to move up a little, then this is my recommendation right here. It's the Llama Vista, but it's also, you could get along just as well with the Llama Safari, which is the exact same pen body and mechanism and all, but this is what's called a demonstrator, which means that they can see in. They can kind of see what's going on with how this works, and it's fascinating for a new user. In fact, it's still fascinating for me. I just love it, and so I do highly recommend the clear Llama Vista to get someone started. I think it's just amazing because they can really see what's going on with the color. They can open it up, and what this is a cartridge converter pen, but you can use this, what's called a cartridge converter, and fill from a bottle of ink, which we're going to look at. Don't worry, we're going to look at bottles of ink. Or you can just pop in a cartridge. Well, each time you buy one of these, the cartridge is included. You will have to purchase extra the converter if that's how you're going to go. But if you're just getting someone started, a cartridge will come in there. I'm going to close this up so I don't dry up the pen. But I'm going to show you what the cartridge looks like. Oops. Yeah, get into the box here, get out a blue one. So there's your cartridge. They would just pop the cartridge in and go. And that could go, you know, that could do them for quite a while, especially if you were to get them the Llama Vista with a box of cartridges. That would be really cool. That'd be a great start. But we aren't going to stop there. We're also going to still consider the paper issue, but we already talked about that. So once again, here are those, and I'm gonna do plenty of description down below so that you'll be reminded of what we talked about. But paper should always be included, even if it's just a really inexpensive little spiral notebook where you know they're going to have a good experience. Now, this pen, what makes this so special, what makes it go to the next level, is that it has a swappable nib. This nib pulls right off, and other sizes can be put on. So you're giving them much more than just one pen, because you're giving them the option of going to a broader tip or a flat tip that's known as a stub nib. So they can do, if you're familiar with calligraphy, it's more like a calligraphy nib than it is a regular nib. Now, what I have on here is a fine nib, a Llama fine nib, and I highly recommend that you get a Llama fine nib for any beginner, someone who's brand new. That's right where I would start, because a nice fine nib like that won't bleed through as many papers, and it'll give them a chance to try it out on papers that they're probably already writing on, if they're journaling and writing and enjoy writing, which is probably why you wanted to buy them a pen. So hopefully this isn't overwhelming, but I'm going to type as much of the description to help you out and provide links. But that would be how I would go. But we can't stop here. We've got the pen, which it retails for just under $30. And then we've got the little cartridges, which are a couple of dollars. And then again, a few more dollars for some paper. Okay, so we are adding it up. But there is one more thing that I don't think you should give anyone one of these pens without giving them what's called a bulb syringe. If you're a parent, you're probably going to say, what? Because we all know what these are used for with babies, right? But this is so nice because you can clean the pen real easily. You'll pull this out, you'll fill this with water, and right where the cartridge converter is, you're going to plug that in and force the water through, and that's all there is to cleaning these pens. Where before this was known about, it was just kind of a real pain trying to run enough water down through, or trying to do it another way that we won't talk about, because we're trying to stick to beginner level here. And many of you know this already, but this is for those of you who would like to either, you know, a lot of times we get a little bit advanced, and then we forget all these things, and when we're trying to help somebody new, we forget the basics, you know, of the whole thing. So I would definitely give one of these along with it. And I think you can find them in your pharmacies, but you can find them from every fountain pen retailer that I know of, and it's called a bulb syringe. So you've got your pen, you've got a cartridge, you've got a notebook, and you've got something to clean the pen with, they are set up in the hobby with, you know, any one of these. So let's just, you know, make it simpler. Okay, now you can go further with this, and it is good for you to know, even if you don't choose to with a beginner, but you could decide to get them a bottle of ink, and there's some considerations that go along with ink. So let's just move everything. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple different ink bottles and what's called an ink vial. Just in case you really are wanting to do this, but you're not really familiar with the hobby at all, this is an ink sample vial, and it holds, I think, 5, or I guess you could really push it and put 6 milliliters of fountain pen ink in it. So you can order samples, and that would be a neat way if you just wanted to introduce somebody to using samples, because they can fill their pen right from this little sample vial. In fact, they wouldn't be able to fill their pen easily from a small diamine bottle like this, because the hole is just not big enough, and it would really turn into a trouble. It'd just be much easier with this, let's put it this way. At least I have found it to be. Okay, so this is fine to get a little bottle like this, but I would recommend that you include, especially if you're sending from your things, include a vial, because that will help them out a lot. Now, one like this is a Monteverde bottle. You can fill directly from this, and you wouldn't have to have anything else. Okay, but we aren't doing the ins and outs of it. This is just if you know they're already filling that way, and you want to get them something. Monteverde inks are affordable and they're great. And Waterman inks are wonderful too. This is the Tender Purple. If you've got a purple lover, this is a beautiful ink, and it's performed really well in my pens. And it's got a nice wide entry point for your pen. You don't need to worry about that bottle at all. Okay, so we've got some other things that I know I'm forgetting, so I'm just going to look over. Oh, yes, okay. Perhaps the most important thing that I can tell you is when you get ready to do this, and let's just make a configuration. Let's say you've decided to get a Llama Vista, some cartridges, and a bulb syringe, and a little notebook, so the person can really get started in the hobby. I recommend you write a letter, and especially if you're into fountain pens like I am and you know what's going on with them, and you write a letter and fill them in. So fill them in on where they can go on YouTube to learn about all these things. Like, you know, I'm not going to mention specifics because there's so many, and you probably have your favorite YouTubers. Some of the YouTubers and in the companies do cater to beginners. I wouldn't say that I actually do, although some of my older videos do kind of cater to beginners, but I've kind of dove in head first and started after I started doing videos after I'd been in the hobby for a whole year. So do make it very personal, and you know, pass on the love of the hobby and handwriting too, by writing a note or something to them. That's one of my recommendations. So, okay. Yeah, that is definitely it. Now, one thing to avoid, okay, this is my #1 tip for what to avoid when you're shopping for a fountain pen. At all costs, it's a mindset that you need to avoid, in my opinion. And that mindset is the more you spend, the better the writing experience will be. That is false. That's a myth, or it's not true. You can get awesome writing experiences for well under $20, and in many cases for under $5. But then comes in the love of the hobby and how much time and effort you want to put in, or the person wants to put in to the learning but that's the fun of it to me. But by all means, do not have that mindset that it has to be super expensive. In fact, that's one of the things I think we as pen people need to help people understand, that you can get awesome writing experiences that don't have to be over $100 for a pen. Because I'm going to tell you something that a friend who has since passed away told me. She said that a fountain pen is basically a nib holder. So your main feature of your pen is this nib. So really, this is beautiful and shiny, And, you know, and you can spend as much as you want to spend, up into the thousands or hundreds, on a pen body that's gorgeous, you know, made out of all kinds of neat materials. But that's not going to change your writing experience that drastically when you get over a certain point. And what I found was I dabbled with 2 gold nib pens, and I ended up liking steel nibs better. So that automatically makes a pen about $100 more if you're going for a gold nib. And people will not all agree with me. This is just my opinion, but my opinion is that you should really avoid that mindset. So, okay, and speaking of shopping, in terms of how I tackle my shopping list, oh boy. I'm really much more of a year-round kind of, when an opportunity comes up and I think of an idea, I like to send something to somebody. So I don't do all that great with Christmas because the pressure gets to me. But I do have 3 tips. One is make a good list. You know, list everybody that you want to get a gift for. And then set a firm and realistic spending limit. You know, you're going to get to see, okay, up here's my total. What do I have? And then write everybody down with your little ideas. It's really nice to capture those ideas as they come in. And then just make sure you stick to the limits. And then I'll give you a 3rd tip. And this is just me, but I'd say shop online. Don't bother going into stores unless you happen to live near a fountain pen store, because I think fountain pen people are great and you're going to have a good experience. So, one of my very last things to mention here is my own wish list. My actual, like my letter to Santa. If I could get anything I wanted this year, it would be a Knoxseed A5 in the purple iris. But I think I'd have to help Santa out this year for that if I'm expecting to get that. So another thing that I want to mention, and I don't really have a gift card, so just pretend this is a gift card. My recommendation to you, if you're trying to get the best gift for a pen enthusiast who has it all, who has everything, get them a gift card or a gift certificate through one of the major pen stores online. I just think, and I'm not going to name names, there's so many good ones, but do that because they have everything. They have a lot, but they always want more things, but it's tricky. It's very, very tricky. Once you've been in the hobby about a year, you've got pens, you've got inks, you've got samples rolling around, you've got everything, but there's always a certain kind of paper or a certain kind of envelope that they may need. So get them a gift card. That's my recommendation. And I just want to give you one final thought, and that is that don't get discouraged if you're on a tight budget, because I believe that a tight budget ends up resulting in the most creativity. It does. It really does. It's not about spending more. It's about thinking more and really personalizing things. And you can do that so easily. And most of these stores, you can call them up, the fountain pen places online, and ask questions. They're going to be happy to help you. You can ask YouTubers like me questions, and we are just excited to talk about the hobby. So shoot, go ahead in the comments, ask me anything you want. Oh, and I have one final thing for you. I keep thinking it's the final thing, but nope. The very final thing I have for you is a book recommendation. This is the book that I have most gifted people throughout my life. I can't remember when this book was published, but it's been out since 2001, and it is 10 Secrets for Success and Inner Peace by Dr. Wayne Dyer. And I think whether they're an artist, a writer, anything, this book is just so useful. I've given it for graduations. I've given it to young people, to family members. It's just a soothing book, and it's got beautiful illustrations. And Dr. Dyer is just a gift to the world that'll keep on giving forever. You know, he's on another, he's crossed over now. He's already passed away, but his work is legendary, and it lives on, and this is the book I would most recommend. So I hope that this video is helpful to you in some way, and I'm going to sign off now. And I urge you to ask any questions you want to ask about anything that I've talked about. So where's my other pen recommendation? And I know I kept it extremely simple, But this is, you know, from experience and from my own experience, because my very first fountain pen experience was with a Pilot Metropolitan, and I don't even want to talk about it. I wish my first experience had been with a super simple little fountain pen like the Pilot Varsity. Even at the old age that I was at when I re-entered the hobby. So I hope this was useful, and I appreciate your being here, both those of you who have followed me from the beginning and all of the newcomers. If videos like this interest you, where I do talk about inks, because that's what I talk about the most, but of course you have to have a pen in order to write with ink. So mostly where I review inks and talk about pens and the pen hobby, then I would invite you to subscribe to my channel by clicking that red button. And I just appreciate you stopping by in any case. Thank you very much. Bye for now.